Hey everybody, it's Dana Brigman, and welcome to fall. It's October 1st. I don't know how that happened, but it is. And I just want to spend a little bit of time today reminding everybody how important it is for us to think about doing a liver cleanse for our dogs. So we are coming out of summer, and we know that even if we are not using flea and tick medications, if we happen to be doing a modified heartworm schedule for prevention, some aren't doing anything, which is, depending on your region, may be perfectly acceptable. That's been scary for some of us to accept because we've been told just the opposite for so many years. But we know that our neighbors are still using pesticides around their homes. They're using fertilizers, weed killers. Farming communities may be using Roundup. And all of that manages to get into the air, the water supply, the soil, and it's all around us, even though we are trying to live a low tox lifestyle. So I will start a full liver cleanse, which is the diet and some supplements, and it usually lasts about 21 to 28 days, depending on the animal and the condition that we are starting with. So the full liver cleanse is something that I do for all dogs who have allergies, all dogs who have aggression, all dogs who have anxiety, all dogs who are coming off of a kibble diet with these issues, and maybe some other conditions. And then I want my clients to get on a maintenance schedule where we do a spring cleanse and a fall cleanse. The liver is a really important organ. We only get one of them, but we know that it can heal and regenerate from a fair amount of damage. The challenge is by the time we see damage in a liver, it's about 70% damaged. So we need to protect it and help it do its best work. When the liver struggles, the skin is most likely going to struggle because it is our largest detoxification organ. And so if the liver can't do what it needs to do, it's going to try and tap into the skin, which is sometimes where we see those red hot inflamed skin conditions. We also know that when the liver struggles to eliminate the waste that is being put into the body, that it will turn to cellular tissues and start to store that material. So sometimes that's where we see things like liver spots or what I call old man bumps start to show up, right? Sometimes those things are harmless. It can be as simple as a cyst or a lipoma, but sometimes they turn into masses that have much more serious consequences. No sound. That's not good. Can you hear me, Sandy? Okay, good. Thank you, Lisa, for letting me know that. I was thinking I was going to have to start over. Sandy, can you hear? I hope Sandy can hear. Lisa, can you just confirm that you can still hear? Okay, terrific. Um, anyway, so we wind up where the liver struggles, and we wind up seeing it store the things that it cannot assimilate in the body, or it cannot pass as waste in the body. And it stores it in cellular tissues. Those things can be harmlessly stored, like a lipoma or a cyst, or they can become a mass that can have some more serious consequences. So, where we are right now is looking at the fall maintenance schedule and the protocols that we will use for that. So, I am going to share the full liver cleanse diet. It's out on my website. I will make it free for this month. And if you want to be in the forum where you can ask questions at no cost to you for this liver cleanse and see the supplements that I use and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to shoot folks out to members.welloiledcanine.com. There'll be a no cost section there. So I have a read only section and a members section where you sort of get the keys to the kingdom on a lot of resources and protocols and things of that nature. So we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. But for those of you who are just looking to get started with this and need a really budget-friendly approach, the easiest thing that you can do is to implement milk thistle for your dog for the next month. So for 28 days, just do a very gentle milk thistle herbal tincture added to their diet for the next month. And so I'll share my link tree with you so you know where you can get those products. And I will share the dosing on this post so that you have access to that. But I would start with around 2 to 5 milligrams per pound of body weight for the first week. So you will have to read your label and figure out, based on the tincture you have purchased, how many milligrams is in that product. And then I want you to begin 1 week somewhere in the range of 2 to 5 milligrams per, I think it's per 10 pounds of body weight. But I want you to ramp the next week potentially as high as 100 milligrams. Okay, so we're going to make a big leap. You may see a detox happen. And honestly, that's what we want. We want what's in there to come out. Well, how does it come out? It may come out as additional poop, right? So don't be surprised if your dog is pooping more in those following weeks. And don't be surprised if you maybe even see something like a skin rash begin to surface, especially at these higher doses of milk thistle. Again, we are trying to purge toxins out of the body. My additional suggestion is, even if you cannot feed a fresh food diet the entire year round, consider a fresh food diet during this cleansing period. If you can't do a full fresh food diet this month, at least consider adding some fresh toppers to your dog's bowl as well. Another good add-on for the option, so taking us up just a step in the budget, would be to also add a product called SAM-E. You may see it listed as SAM-E, and I am saying the letter E as in Edward, or you may see it as SAM/E. And you would follow whatever product you have purchased, their labeling guidelines. My Gemma's problem with detox is she gets a raging ear infection and won't let us clean her ears. So I have to do a mild detox more long term. Yeah, I hear you. I do have a really good ear wash recipe on my website. And if you can't get in the ear to clean it, you can get around the ear, sort of on that backside. And if we're using essential oils, they will still do their magic and get to where they need to go. The general theory of recurring ear infections is that there is still something in the gut and in that ear that is not fully cleared when we do it. Okay, so if you want more help on that, let me know. So, the budget friendly side of this is milk thistle for 1 month. Step up is milk thistle plus Sam E. And if you can do something fresh for this period of time, all the better. For those of you who can do more, there is a 28-day diet. It is a home prepared meal that includes fish. It includes potatoes, so don't freak out about that. Remember, it's temporary. And some vegetables. And it's a homemade diet. You can make a big batch in bulk, freeze it for the 28 days or for a couple of weeks at a time. We still do add milk thistle. We still do add Sam E. And for some dogs, if they have allergic conditions or inflammatory conditions, I may advise you to take some additional steps with supplementation at this time. When we do this dietary cleanse, so remember I said even with the milk thistle, you may see a skin issue pop up. Lisa is telling us that she sees some ear issues surface. When we start these detox protocols, it often gets worse before it gets better. And people panic. They're like, oh my God, we thought we had things stable and we called you, Dana, and you set us down this path and it looks like all hell broke loose. And what have you done to my dog? Trust me, I have heard all of that. And so the trick is we may need to slow things down, but we do not want to stop because the body is telling us that it truly is in a crisis. We don't want to be in a healing crisis and put that dog or you through real agony, but we got to get whatever's in there out. And we have to also soothe the skin topically when this starts to happen, or the digestive system with things like slippery elm or marshmallow root or whatever it may be to help the GI system manage this detox protocol, right? We don't want them with raging diarrhea, so we'll look at how to resolve that. If it comes out via the skin, then we can use things like green tea spray, green tea and or chamomile sprays. We can soothe with Epsom salt soaks. We can bring in some essential oils. If you are oily, all the better when this starts because you'll have those supplies on hand. If you started this today and by the end of the week you said, oh my God, the skin is on fire, I most likely cannot put your essential oils in your hand for a week or two, right? So we have to do what's accessible for you. And that's where we would turn to homeopathic remedies, Epsom salt soaks, make ointments that we can put on the skin and leave there with things that you can get at your local vitamin stores or health food stores and things of that nature. So there are plenty of options. The key is you have to talk to me and tell me what's going on. We'll figure out how to slow things down and what you can do to take action and make some at-home remedies to get through to the other side of this thing. But you don't, if you stop, and I have had clients stop and they see a little bit of improvement, and then a couple of weeks they're like, oh my god, we are exactly back to why I called you in the first place. All right, my dog is red hot, inflamed, itchy skin, GI, whatever it may be. So that's why I'm encouraging you to pop into the forum. This will be in a section that is free. It just requires your email to join. There is a paid section for my active clients and members of Young Living, and there's a subscription where people can pay a monthly fee if you want to. That's completely optional. But for the purpose of this liver cleanse and to be in this community where we're talking about it, it's only an email that will be required. But the liver cleanse guide is going to be made free on my website to everybody. You just won't get the quote unquote support unless you pop into that forum. Any questions so far? Anybody? Anybody still there? So for those who might not have had sound at the beginning, since we do have a little time here, what I was saying about how important the liver organ is, it is it's one of the detox organs that we have. It is so important to our health and well-being, and to detoxify all the chemicals and all the things that are around us. Even though you and I may have started living a lower tox lifestyle for ourselves and our pets, we are exposed every day, and likely more so in the summer because of all the pesticides and flea and tick products that many of you have not yet found the confidence to abandon. And so I do this maintenance version of the liver cleanse twice a year. I will do it in the spring, just before we move into the season of fire, which is a Chinese medicine term that hopefully, as you've been with me or have now joined us, are starting to learn more about the 5-element theory. So we do that going in so that our liver is as healthy as it can be going in to this season, where the liver is the priority. The liver gallbladder is the priority in spring. And then we do it again in the fall as we come out of exposure to all of these toxins. And then I may do it any time of year to get a client started if they call me and say, my dog is eat up with allergies or hot spots or skin conditions. I have been a long-term kibble feeder, vaccine user, flea and tick, heartworm, all the toxins. So I get a lot of calls where the dog has been healthy for 6 or 7 years until they are not. And it's when they are not that we are in trouble. So when I get those calls, I'm like, let's start with a detox diet. We cleanse the liver, and then we get on this maintenance schedule. And then the other times that I use it is if your dog is aggressive in any way. And then sometimes with my anxiety dogs. I may use a different version with anxiety dogs. But the liver, according to Chinese medicine, is where we store anger. Well, what is aggression if not some level of anger? And how does that happen? It's because that liver is burdened, right? It's been burdened with all these toxins that it doesn't know what to do with and cannot successfully eliminate. And so then it starts looking for other ways to get some help. And this is sometimes where we see it show up in skin conditions, growths on the body, and things of that nature. I will also tell you that if you have a dog with kidney health issues or pancreatic issues, the other 2 organs, so think pancreas, liver, kidney, gallbladder, right? They are all intertwined in terms of they need each other to do what is important for digestion and elimination. When one of them struggles, when one of them is in trouble, the others work harder. We don't often think about that, but the others start trying to work harder to help out the other systems of the body. And like I said earlier, and Sandy, your sound may not have been on, by the time we see a liver issue, about 70% of the liver is already damaged. That's a huge number. That's a huge number. Okay. So we want to be as protective and supportive and detoxifying as we can on an ongoing basis. So we start when we start, right? If your dog's 8 or 9 years old and has always been a kibble feeder and you've always done vaccines because that's all you ever knew, you start today trying to do better because you know better, right? Because you have options to consider. And we take things from there and we do the absolute best we can. If your dog has elevated liver enzymes, which is pretty common, this is a good approach to take to get started. I would likely advise you to add in a couple of other supplements. So join the forum, ask these questions, tell me specifics about your dog, and I'll help you figure out those additional strategies that may need to be put in place. If your dog has liver disease, this is not where you begin. These protocols are for the quote unquote healthy dogs, right? Maybe elevated liver enzymes, but not for the dog with liver disease. If you have a dog with liver disease, we need to do some different things. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Look for, I'll make a post in a little while where you can find the milk thistle and the SAM-E and the guide itself and how to pop into the forum for additional support. Lisa's saying my dogs went raw a year and a half ago after over. Well, at least you started, Lisa, right? It's an important step to take. Listen, my dogs were not always raw or fresh fed either. Huey, my senior miniature dachshund, is 19 and a half years old, and he's probably only been raw and fresh fed for maybe 12 years now, maybe a little longer. But he's doing great. So, don't feel like it's ever too late to get started and to do these things. A friend of mine and I were talking earlier today. Her dog it's a little pit bull. She's 14 years old. She now has kidney disease. And some of her friends are challenging her, going, but you feed raw. Well, her dog, God bless him, or her, Gouda, had a really crappy, and that's an understatement, start to her life in terms of nutrition and being overbred and over vaccinated and over everything. And not necessarily the most top of the line genetic specimen we might find, right? And so we do the best we can with where we stand with the dog today. That's all we can do. And we can help address genetics and epigenetics and all of that, but at the end of the day, God has a plan for us and our animals, and sometimes it's a teaching experience. So that's all we can do. Okay, I hope that this is a helpful kickoff as to why I think everybody needs some level of detox protocol and detox maintenance. And you'll start seeing the posts coming through about how to get that started. And I'm here if you need me, so feel free to reach out. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great afternoon.